It's been almost 9 years. When we first found it, we thought, wow, we got our own home.
She bought a house from somebody that did a ton of work with no permit, no architectural drawings.
When the inspector came, he says, that doesn't belong there and this doesn't belong there. And I thought, my God, what am I going to do?
Because she's the new homeowner, it's all handed to her.
I was just crushed. They need to know what's in the walls, how it's built. I'd have to tear the house down to find out what has to be done. I ended up with a heart attack.
Mike Holmes, did they actually do this roof?
No, we didn't. You want a good job? Keep me in shape. I'll be contractor. God, I love my job.
It's been almost 9 years since we found the house, and my daughters and I were really excited. When we first found it, we thought, wow, home, we got our own home. A few months later, I get a knock on the door. The inspector saying that there's an outstanding work order on the house, which I was not aware of, but the lawyer did not make me aware of it. And there was a lot to be looked at.
She bought a house from somebody that did a ton of work with no permit, then fought with the government. The government sues the homeowner to make sure they stand up to code, that he makes sure that he has architectural drawings, etc. Now, because she's the new homeowner, it's all handed to her. The whole kit and caboodle.
When the inspector came to the house, first thing he says, that upstairs doesn't belong here, that doesn't belong there, and this doesn't belong there. And he just kept screaming, and I just thought to myself, where is this guy coming from? We weren't even aware of it. We didn't do anything. I was just crushed. I thought, God, we moved from an apartment, we got our home, and we can do and enjoy the home the way we're supposed to. It just felt like, you know, we lost everything. That's how I felt.
Pat, how are you? Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
I came here last week to meet the two inspectors. We looked at a lot of things according to the plans, and man, I learned a lot more about the gentleman who owned this home before you.
Was he crazy? I don't know. Did he lose it? I don't know. What I do know is he took on the government and failed. He actually lost the house. He walked away, went bankrupt. The bank took it.
He refused to comply with the government. As a matter of fact, he had started this addition without a permit, and I guess they found out and they came in.
The lawyer was aware of it, but he didn't make me aware of it.
We found the floor joists are running this way and not this way like the plans say. This floor, the second floor.
The city asked me to get plans made up of as is. They need to know what's in the walls, how it's built, and I thought, my God, what am I going to do? I'd have to tear the house down to find out what has to be done.
After a little bit of investigative work, she finds out that she has to sue the lawyer and the bank.
It went on for about 6 years. It ended up we had to go to a mediator. So we settled. I was getting pretty stressed out because I like to keep things to myself, you know, work it out with my family, and I ended up with a heart attack last year. So.
9 years later, a heart attack, she wins the lawsuit. Not a lot of money, not even close to really what's necessary to fix the home.
Mike is right there, and he said he's going to help me regardless and get this solved for me so I can enjoy the rest of my life in my home.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, I'm going to open up the ceilings, I'm going to bring in an engineer and help guide her through the inside of the house. Permits to be obtained, drawings to be changed. It's going to take a couple months minimum before anything can be done. In the meantime, what I can do is take that deck down out back, and I can build something that she can now sit and enjoy. I can make that right.
I have 6 children, 12 grandchildren, and 1 great-granddaughter. They're here every weekend. I'd just like to have a safe deck for everybody to come and enjoy.
His columns are wrong. His joists are wrong. His connection to the house is wrong. His stairs are wrong. No big deal. We know it's coming down, okay? I know you took down the upper because you were trying to comply with the government, so that's down. I did see the pictures of that. Did you put this up just to temporarily close off the doors?
Yeah, just for safety.
Okay, so we'll take that down. So we're going to work a little bit in your house. We're going to set up an engineer, okay? And bit by bit, that house will get taken care of.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So while I'm here, this deck's coming down, and we're going to build you a brand new deck, a brand new upper deck, and we're going to set you up for a barbecue for the summer.
Oh, terrific.
Okay? It's all against code. That rail's falling down on that side. His columns are wrong. His joists are wrong. His connection to the house is wrong. His stairs are wrong. We know what's coming down. Well, it's obvious what we have here. I guess you can see just by looking at it.
It's not looking...
It's not well built at all. This is quite the story on this one, where the homeowner decided to put up a first and second story addition without permits. And make a long story short, he lost everything, and the new homeowners here bought a nightmare without knowing. Not a good sign. He's built it in sections and then placed it in and just nailed it, eh? No bolts.
Couple nails.
Nope,
Yeah.
some nails.
Actually, a couple of nails, you're right.
Yeah.
1 nail on each side. It looks like we're going to get these up easy. Let's pop up the floor in the area. 1, 2, 2 nails. I guess they didn't have enough nails that day. Well, the most important thing you can do with anything to do with a railing is make it safe. A ton of nails at the end here, but no strength at the bottom.
What do we see here? We see no joist hangers whatsoever. What is this going to do in the future? With no joist hangers and only nailed in, no screws whatsoever, when this area rots, which it will, this will release. You put enough people on this deck, it will cave in just like this. The structure is incorrect. We do not want to run our floor joists parallel to the house. We want to run them out away from the house. That way we tie into the legend plate. We see a low finish on the foundation. There's our liquid tar. I do see parge, so it tells me they did it, but they didn't bring it up high enough. That's a mistake in itself right there, so we're probably going to have to address that as well. I see nothing in here, not a thing. So we're letting all the weather, all the water underneath the door, which is going to rot not only the bottom sill plate of the door, but also the wood structure underneath it. The only drainage is right here. There is no other drainage, so it's not allowing water to drain off. It's only allowing water to hold it and bring it into the house. I highly recommend a 7-inch step down so we do not have snow buildup, which rots the bottom of the door and the wood. This is not the way to build a deck. We have no choice. Everything's coming out, and we're going to re-drill all new sonotubes. We're going to run our floor joist this way, tie into a header plate. We're going to step this deck down, and we'll make it right. And we know them 4x4s. Oh, God.
Sitting on the earth.
They were supporting the upper deck, and they're just sitting on the ground. I'm surprised that didn't come down. Just comes apart way too easy. Use 2x10s as the structural support from sonotube to sonotube. Well, what good are they when it drops? Nothing. They should have had at least the sonotube here, supporting the center. The sonotubes at the end have sunk because they're not 4 feet deep. How did this end up being a garbage bin here? It's a gas station as well. I guess the tire was underneath in case it did fall down and gave someone a cushion to fall on. We've been at it for 45 minutes. This is ridiculous. Way too easy. We can see all the nails. They're completely rusted. They didn't even use galvanized. Isn't that funny? Here we can see the difference. Here they use galvanized nails. Look, after 10 years, barely any rust. I would have preferred screws. No screws, no legs. What's a leg? It's the 2 bolts we want to see go right through into structure or concrete. Nails alone do not give enough strength. Is that wrong or what? I pulled it off with my hands. I shouldn't be able to do that. See what I'm talking about? What do we see? No sealant, no nothing. We show water penetration. Now, what was stopping this? No sill gasket, keeping wood away from concrete. Why do we want to keep wood away from concrete? Moisture is absorbed through concrete, brought up into the wood. Day 2, John McRae's coming in. We're going to make sure we're fine with the parging on this, because once I put up a deck, it's going to be real hard to get to it, so let's address it now. The cinder block foundation, we can see it. It's always on the joins on the sides. Water's going to get in there easy. So once I bring this grade back up so it runs away from the house, that's going to absorb right into the block, so we've got to get this addressed now. We do see that he has parged it. I see no cracks in it, so that's a good sign. They also use the liquid foundation, so I don't think it's that bad. But, you know, for me to put a deck up here, I think we've got to continue it.
No, absolutely. Good idea. Pretty straightforward, this one. It'll take 1 day for the parging to dry. Then the following day, we'll prime it, put on the foundation coating, and you're in business.
Excellent. I thank you, John.
Oh, not a problem. No.
We wanted to do 3 10-inch sonotubes and support the upper as well as the first section of this deck and then tear it down. Based on calculations of 50 pounds per square foot, we got to put in not only 3 10-inch, we've got to turn them into a Bigfoot system where we will dig this hole twice as big, slip down in the Bigfoot system, fill it with concrete, and then backfill it with dirt. Not only does this system allow a footing on the bottom, it stops it from lifting back up again. So it's a great way of doing it, and now gives us 4 times the weight load that we can put on one of them. So we're going to do 3 of them. Otherwise, we'd have about 6 10-inch holes here. Piece of cake, right? A little bit of digging, that's all.
That's it for the day, hey?
We'll leave this overnight and come back in the morning. Start framing.
Start framing the upper deck.
We're looking for a part-time helper. You interested? You want to come out and play? You just can't come out, eh? It's like, where's the stairs? We're working on it, don't worry. You can come out and play later.
Not very strong concrete.
But he said it's a patio, so it's for cottage.
Lift that up now.
Yeah, that was easy. Object today is to get all framing done, and what I want to do, we're going to have 3 6x6 posts coming up with a header beam across the top where we'll sit 2x10s. It's coming out 5 feet on the top. That'll support that area. Then I'm going to come 8 inches down from this point. I'm going to come out 2 of the 6x6s, carry it over top of 2x10 so I have a step down. John McRae also is coming in. He's already done the parging. We see it's a great parge. Over top of this, he'll put up the coating that we want, the secondary membrane, and now I feel a lot more comfortable closing this in.
Primer. It's not necessary, but I like putting it on even before the foundation coating. This material really soaks into the concrete or to the block, and it just makes a great bonding agent for any kind of foundation coating or rubberized membrane or anything like that. So this takes about a half hour, 20 minutes to set up, and then we can put a liquid foundation coating on it.
Are we level?
We are.
Okay, check the other one.
Good. Like I was explaining before to you about the primer, how it becomes a bonding agent. If you notice when you stick your finger on it, it becomes very, very sticky and very tacky. So when you put your final coat of foundation coating on it, it really adheres to it.
As usual, you're the man. Look at that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill.
Oh, no problem. Anytime.
I appreciate it. So it's 1/8 of an inch, okay? So everybody, when we use the level, it's the bubble touching the inside of the house. Well, I don't want the deck to be 100% level. I'm gonna give it about a 3-degree slope down. It'll help the snow melt. Even though we're gonna do the top boarding across, we'll give a 1/4 inch space for it to melt, but it doesn't hurt to give it a slight rundown. go. We have almost a 10-foot pole here. When you look down, it is perfect from one pole to another, and that's what you want to see. The idea is now we take our 2x10s in, we'll face place it off this side, double bolt it off of here. The 2x8 sits on top of that. Go ahead, make my day. I can't flip that thing, eh? On this end, we do not need hangers because we can catch it from the end plate. Nails are sufficient, screws are great, but we're only 1 foot away from the beam, so it's only appearance and a finished edge for the flooring. Well, what Sean's doing is putting up a sealant there, and it'll keep the water out, not to mention the critters. Put up a little bit of membrane, and that'll keep the wood from rotting.
Down a little bit. Ooh, right there.
I want to lay down some plastic. The idea is we put the plastic down, and we don't have any roots or anything that grows through underneath. Another good thing you can do is just lay down some 3/4 crush on top of it, dresses it up. We're going to skirt it on the outside so you won't see it. I'm using limestone screening because it's almost like concrete. It settles right away and allows me to play. We are below 2 feet at this point, and we are allowed to float the deck. I'm tying in the structure, I'm floating this end. This end will go with the ground, freezing, thawing, and move around, but it doesn't move as much as people think. Inch, depending on regions where you are. It's safe enough, it's strong enough. I don't mind digging it either, putting in sonotubes, but we don't have to. So all I'm gonna do is we'll level these right across. I can put up two vertical 2x6s here, 2 vertical 2x6s here, and structurally support the whole thing. So let's just pull that block out. Beautiful. See how simple that was? All I have to do is square it. 3, 4, 5, it's all you have to remember. 3 foot one way, 4 foot the other way, right to the outside edge. 5 feet from point to point gives you a square.
An 8-foot.
Okay, and that means I'm going out?
Yep. 16.
That's good. I will be adding 2x10 hangers on these ends here, but right now I just want to get them in place so I can cut off the ends, create my frame. Much easier to lay your joists in place now and add the hangers later because no 2x10 is precisely the same depth. So put them in place, then add your joist hangers. Same? Yes. From this point, we're gonna go straight across. So this will be our mark, and I just want to overlap that walkway a bit, and we're gonna cut that angle. God, day 3. Brought the inspector in to take a look at it. He's passed it to this point. Object today is to get this completely covered on the top. And we'll just do one step down directly across. We'll get the railings up, we'll get the top done. For now, I just want to put up the 4x4s, 2x6 across the top, the brace completely in and then into the wall. I have a lot to do. This is what we call the deck screwer. I can either use it on the short, or I put my extension on at this end to the end piece. And now I can just stand up and drive them in, so it's great for all the decking that we have to do here. Putting down the boards, you don't have to fumble with the screws. What Benji's doing is just keeping our gaps all the same. 16-foot lengths are never 100% true, so we've got to manipulate them. There is no code at all on how much spacing there should be, but we don't want too much space that you can lose keys or anything. We just want drainage, so 1/4 inch is plenty.
Although we are plumbing level, the house isn't, so this faceplate I have on here, I've got it mounted flush to the deck of the house, so it's strong, but this house isn't straight. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm leveling off the deck here flush, and then when I put my top plate in here, I'll take my 2-foot level and level off this first picket. And once this first one is set up plumb, then I can use the 3-inch spacer, which is what I did at the bottom.
We're doing damn good. Lots of work happening. I'm gonna estimate another hour, I'm hoping, because I have beds cutting and me drilling. Benj is up there. 1 hour, it'll be cleanup time. I really do prefer the 2x6 over the regular decking board simply because your standard decking board's 1 inch, where we're gonna be 1.5 inches. For me, it's a lot stronger.
You good?
Yep. Cat, come on out here. What are you doing?
Oh my God.
It's a little different, eh?
Wow, so much to look at. Don't know where to look. My ex-daughter-in-law emailed Mike for help for me. She just blew me away. I would never have thought of doing it.
Today's the last day. I got Benji running off to pick up material to build a couple of seating benches here with a pot in the middle. We've got to clean up the property, skirt down the bottom, get that one step in. Be a long day, but it'll be the last day. I was going to cut this stump out, and Teo, my landscaper, he made a great suggestion. He just says carve a hole in it. He says he'll backfill it with some topsoil and put a plant in it. It's a great idea. Sorry, guys. You're going to need to look for another home. That's an exercise. And we have a flower bed. Well, Benji's using a building wrap. You can use fabric from landscaping. Well, the idea here is to stop the earth from washing out as it rains. Yeah, this is good.
The biggest mistake people make with the ends is when it's rolled, the machine actually flicks this to get it to roll up. Actually, take the roll, push it back, bring them close together, and push them in tight. There's your seam. You can't see it anymore. If there's too many gaps, the sod roll will actually shrink, and when it does that, you're left with all these gaps. And when you go over it with your lawnmower, it starts bumping all over the place and scalping it. So you want the tightest you can get it, and then you have a good lawn.
Teo, Lori, not only does this deck look good, but you've just enhanced it by tenfold.
It was our pleasure, sir.
Thanks. Until next time, keep up the good work.
No problem.
Pat, come on out here. How you doing?
Oh my God.
It's a little different, eh?
Wow. I guess so.
Well, you remember what this looked like. Obviously, you know you had to take down the deck. How long ago did you take down that upper?
8 years ago.
8 years ago. Well, we took down the rest, and that's when we noticed that the upper deck was held up by two 4x4s on a 16-foot span right on the ground. That all came down. And what we ended up doing is putting in the biggest sonotubes you've ever seen underneath these three areas. They're actually called Bigfoot is really it, but I call them Big Feet because there's three of them. Now, what this does is this holds up your upper, tears out your second level from the door with a step down so it keeps snow away from your wood doors. We stained your doors.
Gorgeous.
We gave you new lights.
Wow.
We're a step down from there, which is a floating pad on the end, but tied into the 6x6s for structure. Then I brought in my landscaper. We did a little bit of dressing on the outside of this.
Good God.
A little different?
Wow, I'd say so. Like, just unbelievable.
I was going to cut this out. My landscaper said, it's got a hole in it, and let the flowers grow out of it.
It's unbelievable.
And we give you three nice planter hooks there with plants.
I noticed that. They're just gorgeous.
It's not the same house, is it?
And you would never know it. Well, it's really appreciate it, Mike. Believe me.
My pleasure. The engineer is going to take care of all the plans, and once they're all ready and we can redo the permits again, I'll send in somebody else and they'll take care of the inside. Can you imagine buying a home and 3 months later, someone knocks on your door and hands you a world of help? You have no choice. You have to get this fixed. 9 years later, she wins the court case. Doesn't give her enough money to fix this problem. There's not enough money. 9 years of help, the poor lady has a heart attack. This is just not the way things should happen.
It's excellent.
Now you can relax. You don't have to worry about anybody banging on your door anymore.
Oh, that is worth millions.
You are so welcome. You want to bring out everybody else?
Yep.
Let's get them.
Come on, kids. Wow.
Oh, look, new lights.
Wow, look at back here.
Oh, wow, all the grass and everything.
And they suggested just putting plants in here.
That's a great idea.
They're
Wow, and
gorgeous.
all new
Look at the
grass.
branches.
Beautiful. You guys did it so quick. Boom, bam, boom, it's done.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. You were the one that wrote in, weren't you?
That was me.
You buy a stereo, something's wrong with it, you take it back. You buy a fridge, something's wrong with it, you take it back. In this case, it's a power sale. Power sale means it's being sold by the bank, as is. That's what you're buying. What can you do? It's now your problem. Phone the government. Look for open permits. Look for liens against your property. That's what a lawyer's supposed to check, but what if he misses? So there's no real insurance on this. None. If you're gonna buy a power sale home, I think you wanna make sure you check yourself. You cannot always put your faith and trust in everybody else. Power sale is buyer beware. Got everything?
Yeah, that's everything.
All decked out, let me tell you.
Good job, guys.
All decked out. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.
Take care, man.